The Abure-led leadership denies the existence of infighting in the party. In a statement, it describes the NLC stakeholders meeting calling for a caretaker committee as, quote, a jamboree by drama boys. Well, for more on this, I'm joined in the studio by Honorable Benedict Etana Bene, member representing Sapele Okwe Uwe, Federal Constituency in Delta State. He is under the Labour Party.
So much.
So you're a member of Labour Party in the House of Reps, and it's your first time. And we understand that you beat a long-time member of the House of Reps from the PDP to clinch that seat. So obviously, you were able to, get so much vote in order to win that seat based on the goodwill that Labour Party had during the 2023 election.
Well, no doubt about that. The movement, the Obidient movement, was very serious, in the 2023, elections. And some of us, who contested under that party, swam with the movement of Obidient. But don't forget, Labour Party, was also on ground before, the election. They may not have done so well, but it's a party, that has produced a sitting governor, if you may recall, Ondo, Governor Mimiko came under the Labour Party. And the last deputy Senate president, president actually got into the Senate courtesy of the Labour Party from my senatorial zone. So a few here and there wins, but I think the wave of Obidient changed the fortune for Labour Party.
Yeah, it's good that you laid that background. We do know that Labour Party has been in existence, but of course it has changed now. And I would like to ask you, are you one of those members who sincerely believes in the causes of the Labour Party and the causes of the masses, or you're just one of those that jumped on the bandwagon to win election?
I started working in the Petroleum Training Institute 1st June 1990. And by 1999, I was elected the Pengassin chairman, branch chairman in the Petroleum Training Institute. And I was a very active member of NEC between 1999 and 2003. It was during our time in NEC that this Labour Party was founded, when then Senator Adams Oshomole was NLC president, and Shino Luoye, was president of Pengassin, and TUC first president. So by nature, I've been in the industry of labor.
But you did not run for election.
No, I was working for government.
You thought this was the right time to take that opportunity? I
have attempted in the past. In fact, this was my 5th attempt, to come to the House of Rep, and it became convenient for me when I saw that the ideology of the other parties do not suit with mine. Is back to whom? So I came back to Labour, where I was more comfortable.
The Labour Party that you ran on last year is very different from today, in view of the infighting and the chaos that is going on. How does that make you feel? Because you left other platforms and came to Labour. What do you feel about what's going on today?
I'm not surprised.
Why so?
Because the successes, of the Labour Party in the 2023 election will certainly attract a lot of attention, from people, concerns, even from parties, the ruling party and other major opposition party. They will do everything possible not to see the light of Labour Party come 2027. And others who have been on the sideline will want to come in. Those who are inside do not want others to come in. So I'm not surprised. I knew it was going to happen. I knew what I went through, during the build-up, to the election in 2023. Nothing that different from what is happening now.
So, but don't you think that it is an issue of mismanaging the party and the successes? Because you know, the national chairman, Julius Abure, has been in charge. He's supposed to have stepped aside. Isn't it in the interest of the Labour Party that he steps aside and gives way for other people so that the party does not disintegrate?
Sometimes I find it difficult to talk into morals, you know, or what some persons should do or not do. I stay in the area of law, you know. If the constitution does not allow him, you know, to continue, I'm not sure would have continued. So there's no encumbrance in the constitution, you know, stopping him from not contesting, you know, again. So I don't think that was a problem.
So because of that crisis, the Nigeria Labour Congress now wants to put together or set up a caretaker committee to take control of the party. What's your take on that?
If it is true, that will be difficult to achieve.
How so?
You know, because the constitution of Labour Party that I know and I've read over and over, you know, does not permit that kind of takeover. And we should not get into the mix of how other parties have been behaving, you know, in the past. You know, some few days ago, I was asking a friend that if I write a book, it will be how to remove, you know, a chairman of a party. Because PDP that started in 1999, they had all this same crisis of how to remove a chairman. The ruling party today, you know, they still are in the same problem of managing chairmen of the parties. Labour is not different. We'll follow the procedures in the constitution of Labour Party to achieving, you know, a transition of the chairman or anybody, as the case may be. Doing it from the outside, you know, it's not in the best interest of the Labour Party or any sympathizer of the Labour, you know, party movement. It's not in the best interest. It will even create more problem. You know, so I don't think that's the best way to go.
Is the NLC, led by President Joe Ajero, are they overreaching themselves in this instance?
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. Joe Ajero is a very respected person.
Because they are the ones trying to set up a caretaker committee, the party itself.
I think there's a few misunderstandings, you know, somewhere. It's a thin line, you know, that can be resolved at any moment. You know, 70% of the problem is more of personality, you know, clashes, words used that are not charitable to describe others, you know, as the case may be. That is the chorus. It's like a husband and wife, you know, issue at home. You know, but the real issue, you know, in the Labour Party is that the presidential candidate in 2023, who incidentally is the leader of the party, you know, my boss, he wants an inclusive, you know, management of the party. He wants people outside. He wants the Obidient movement. If you take your mind back to that 2023, this Obidient movement were not actually members of the Labour Party from other parties, you know, coming together.
Correct.
Now Congress is coming. Those people want to come in. The Abure group that has been there in the past till now, that have managed the party to this, you know, movement, do not, the way I look at it, you know, they are a little bit suspicious of a takeover, you know, by a new, you know, set of persons. These are just the small, you know, problem. What is happening at the national is also happening at the various wards and local government ESCO. It's about the same thing. You know, we will find a way, you know, to bring everybody together, manage, you know, the party the way, you know, we did before the 2023 election. And that's a small thing to achieve.
From what you have said, you are implying that the Obidient movement is now the problem.
No, it's not the problem. It's not the problem.
So, but you're saying that they're trying to bring them into the fold, and that's causing
issue. They should. The party should allow those people, you know, to come into the mainstream of management of the party. I don't agree that they should be left out. I don't agree. I'm only saying to achieving that is not by taking over, you know, the party, you know, from the outside. You know, it has to be done through, you know, dialogue. And that is what I think the leader of the party, you know, is doing, you know, today. He's trying to talk to people, you know, to see how best we can, you know, come, you know, together. You see, in Nigeria, when people get to a particular office, they don't want to leave, you know, anymore. They want to stay there forever. This is not the first time we'll be having, you know, this. But I will probably, love to look at the sit down of any person to see if it is constitutional. If it is constitutional, there's no problem. We'll also use the constitutional means, when the time comes, to do that. Like in the last convention, I probably would have expected people to indicate their interest to becoming, chairman of the party. Nobody. If during the Congress, somebody comes and says, look, I'm interested, I'm canvassing, for votes, to be made, I'm sure Abure will not shut the door against that person. We'll all go to the convention and elect the person of our choice to see how best we can carry the party forward.
So the Obidient movement was instrumental to the votes that you got in last year's election.
No doubt about it.
So it can be difficult or too difficult to merge these different groups within the party so that you can have a united front in 2027, or even before that. There are several other elections happening before that.
It's not going to be difficult. In my case, my federal constituency, it's the same thing exists. The Obidient movement is different from the Labour, party. Now, when I saw the difficulties, both sides, are suspicious of each other. Okay, I'm the one managing, both sides, and I brought them together, work separately to achieving, the common, goal. My aides today, 4 of them, 2 are from Obidient, 2 from the Labour Party. And we're working well. I think we will do the same, at the national level. Over a time, we'll progress towards having a very solid Labour Party. It's not a one-day matter. It's going to take time, to achieve.
Were you at the National Convention in Nnewi, Anambra State?
I was there.
How did it go?
Well, it went well for those who are in support of that convention. Everything was smooth. It was peaceful.
So if you were there, that means you support the Julius Abure faction of the party?
There's no faction in the Labour Party.
But do you support the national chairman, Julius Abure?
If the constitution allows him to contest, and there's no other contender, with him, I don't see why I should not support him. I want a party that is going to be stronger than it is now. I don't want crisis, and crises abound, but leaders also have responsibility to resolving crisis. If I don't go to a place, in fact, when I was coming to town today, from Warri, I told my colleagues that I was going to be at the stakeholders meeting, in spite of the fact that people don't want. I'm a trained lawyer. I put my case in front, and you put yours. We'll talk about it and see where we get a common ground. I don't stay out, and I don't quarrel to achieving progress. If I'm not comfortable in a place, I walk away, and I don't come there. But I don't see, this is not a big problem. It's not a big problem.
2 separate occasions, the Nigerian Political Commission, NLC Political Commission, invited Abure in writing, and he didn't come for that meeting. And then he went ahead to hold that convention. As you know, everybody knows that convention is null and void, and then we told him that it's not, what is expected of him. We are, like I said in my speech, we are open to peacemaking. That's why you see all this suspended, all those people he suspended, the ESCO he suspended illegally, that their suspension has not been ratified, and all that. People he suspended without due process, they're all here. There's a purpose, there's an ideology behind this party. And so what we are saying is that, look, we have a purpose for creating this party, and it has derailed. It has become transactional. You will hear stories, you will still hear stories. Because as we have gathered here now, a lot of people are going to come up with information that will blow people's ear.
So that was at the stakeholders meeting today. I think some people did not believe that it would take place, but it has happened. And he just used the word transactional. What do you feel about that word? It seems that everything that is happening, according to him, is about personal interest.
What people do, in the dark, I cannot talk about it. Nobody transacted anything with me when I was coming to the Labour Party, from the state, to the national. I'm not going to say also that it may not have happened, but all these are allegations. The last time I checked the laws of Nigeria, it's only when the court, convicts you, for allegations made against you, that you can be said to have been guilty. If not, we'll be talking about everybody telling everybody stories. So somebody was said not to have had certificate or voice certificate. That did not deprive the person from getting to where he's going. Who is it that they are not throwing stones at in Nigeria today? So many persons, but those are just allegations. Prove it, if you have the facts, to do it.
But now that you spoke about allegations, there have been several against Mr. Julius Abure. The presidential candidate of the party, previously had said that one of the things that he can do to clear his name is to organize or arrange a forensic audit of all the funds that were received last year. What is difficult in doing that? Why can't he just do that to clear his name?
Okay. Now, the way I see the Labour Party, the management of the Labour Party from the time the Labour Party was founded to now, was like everybody just took their eyes away. The stakeholders, took their eyes away. So they were like the other 50-something parties that were registered at that time. There are so many parties in Nigeria. So it's only now that major successes, have come the way of the party, that people are shouting that we must do this. For me, Abure has a responsibility, to do that. I'm not going to make any defense, for that. If you are spending people's money, please make the account, available. But I think that over the years, they have run the party like paddy matter, whether there are records or no records, I don't know. But I think he will do exactly. I think the leader of the party did something about, funds received, by him, during the campaign. I watched him where he did a forensic auditing of the fund. It's a good example, for him. The window is not closed yet. The man who was speaking a few minutes ago did say that what they are trying to do is to arrive at a peaceful resolution of the matter. If stakeholders don't bring their position of dissatisfaction towards, the center, you will not have anything to talk about. So we hear this side, you are going to hear other, even the legislators are complaining too. They are complaining. So at a point, the leader of the party is going to bring everybody together, will articulate all the problems and find a major way, ahead.
It's interesting that you have insinuated that the party wasn't run properly. So now the light is on them.
Yes.
So they have to be transparent. There's so much expectations from Nigerians, not only the Obidient movement. They have to do things properly, right? You see that happening.
Yes,
I mean, someone has to, force them or compel them to do that.
It will happen. But what I don't get is that it has to be now. If it doesn't happen now, we cannot move forward. No, Rome was not built in a day. Many of these big parties today don't have all this. They have the same problems, but they are not bringing it out in this form.
But foundation is important. You have to do it now.
It's a gradual process.
Right.
It's a gradual process. People are talking about it. A year ago, nobody was talking about the finances of the Labour Party.
But you have to talk about it.
We have to, and do something, about it. For sure.
So
it will be done.
This crisis, do you think that it will affect the Labour Party in upcoming elections? How do you see that playing out?
No, it will not affect. In fact, Labour Party would form government in Nigeria at the center in 2027.
With all of this, you are able to govern?
In a short while, all these things will fizzle out. We'll be together. Like I said, the issues are more of calling of names. Members of the Labour Party calling the president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, he's interested, all this thing he's doing, he's interested to taking over the party, he wants to be No, those are not the words to use. A few months back, the party was taken over by a group, who said they were the other ones. It was the same Ajero who went there, to chase them away, and restore sanity at the National Secretariat. So we shouldn't be using all those kind of words, so they are annoying, you know. But the issues at stake, if you look at the issues at stake, it's not as difficult, you know, as people try to make it look like. It's opening window to allow new ones to come. The ones that are inside are a little bit suspicious. That does not make them illegal people. But it's just the common mentality of the black man. You know, many black leaders in Africa, once they become president, they don't want to go again. They want to sit there for God knows when. So it trickles to other smaller, you know, offices. People are in the National Assembly. Once you get there, you don't want to go again. You're ready to kill or do a lot of things to be there forever.
And now that you mentioned the National Assembly, you are there.
Yeah.
There was a bit of controversy when that arm of government budgeted, I think it was 57.6 billion naira for vehicles, you know, SUVs to the entire members. And some Obidient movement members, or some Nigerians as well, young people, were of the opinion that Labour Party members should have rejected it. Did you collect your own vehicle, or did you reject it? You got your own vehicle.
Got, yes.
Okay. Did you at any point in time argue against spending this big chunk of money
not only
at this time?
Not only in vehicles. Till
Right.
this moment, as I'm talking here, I'm of the opinion that National Assembly members should be on part-time allowance.
Right.
I still stand my ground on it.
So how do we make that a reality? Are you sponsoring a bill, or is there a conversation?
No, it will not see the light of the day.
Okay,
it's
so
a gradual process, a
right.
constitutional discussion, you know, that will get into the subconsciousness of people, and they will now see the need that this is sacrifice, especially now that we don't have money. But you know, the problem here is that in one arm of government, people want sacrifice. Whereas in the other arm of government, you see opulence. When you talk about vehicle and people single out the National Assembly, what about the executive? The ministers, did they not get vehicle? The directors, the DGs in the agencies, some, 3, 4, you know, 5, nobody's talking about that. Local government, even government officers. Me, I worked and I retired as a deputy director in the federal agency. I was entitled to status vehicle. I got. What is the big deal about the National Assembly? But in all this, I'm not justifying it. At this time in Nigeria, we should have kept all those things, you know, aside. Not only for National Assembly, but indeed every Nigeria. Local government, governors are buying cars for House of Assembly members, local government chairmen, and so on and so forth. So the issue is not about cars, it's a total overhaul of our huge bill, you know, to see that we bring it down.
You